not interchangeably, we are using this term together, M&A, merger and acquisition, as if both of them combinedly have some meaning. But there are some differences and there are some technical differences between merger and acquisition. So today we shall be discussing all this about merger and acquisition. So there is a company called Vodafone and there was a company called Idea. And now both of them have merged and it becomes VI, Vodafone Idea Limited. So what kind of change has taken place? Earlier there were two companies. One was the Vodafone Limited and another was Idea. And now Vodafone and Idea, both of them have merged and the new company have emerged, that is VI Limited, Vodafone Idea Limited. So what actually has happened in the process? Earlier there were two companies and both the companies have lost their identity. Vodafone have lost their identity, Idea have lost their identity, and the third entity have come up, that is VI Limited. So here ultimately there are three companies involved, 2 plus 1. Two companies have disappeared from the market and now only one company will be there, VI. And the one company which will be there in the market, it is a new company, means it was not there earlier. Okay, it was not there. VI was not there in the market earlier. Okay. Now take another example. So this VI, this is acquirer company. Vodafone and Idea both are the acquired company. Vodafone is acquired, Idea is acquired, VI is acquirer. Take care of the terms because you will be using this term, or rather we will be using this term in this class more frequently, acquirer and acquired. And this acquired company and acquirer company, they are also called transferor and transferee company. Okay. Take another example. There were three banks, Vijaya Bank, Bank of Baroda and Dena Bank. And now there is only one bank, Bank of Baroda. In the logo, Vijaya Bank and Dena Bank is there, but ultimately there is only one company, Bank of Baroda. So earlier, how many firms were there? Three firms were there, Vijaya Bank, Bank of Baroda and Dena Bank. And now there is only one company, Bank of Baroda. Now, Vijaya Bank and Dena Bank, they are the acquired companies. And Bank of Baroda is the acquirer. Don't see this arrow is towards the B, but actually this Vijaya Bank and Dena Bank are the acquired company and the acquirer is the Bank of Baroda. Okay. Now these examples are clear. Set these examples in your mind. Now what is the difference between the first one and the second one? In the first one, this VI, this company was not in existence. This company came into existence only after this merger deal have taken place, and this is a new company. VI is the new company which has emerged, and this VI have acquired all the assets and liabilities of Vodafone and Idea together. Fine. But in this case, Bank of Baroda is a company which was already there before the deal and after the deal. Bank of Baroda is there, but Vijaya Bank and Dena Bank will not be there after the deal. They will be merging their assets and liabilities with the Bank of Baroda. Means all the assets and liabilities of Vijaya Bank and all the assets and liabilities of Dena Bank will become the assets and liabilities of Bank of Baroda. So in this case, no new company have come up. An old company, an existing company have acquired all the assets and liabilities of two old companies, and those two companies have disappeared, but no new company have come up. Here also we are calling it as acquirer and acquired. So there are terminologies, that is acquirer. Acquirer is also known as transferee company. In case of our Vodafone and Idea, VI is the transferee company, and acquired company, this is the transferor company. So in our Vodafone and Idea both are the transferor companies. Vijaya Bank and Dena Bank both are the transferor companies, and Bank of Baroda is the transferee company. Is the terminology clear?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Okay. Now,
yes, sir.
there are some
Hello,
conditions.
sir.
If it has to be merger, then there has to be certain conditions. And what is that condition? The condition is all the assets of transferor company. Remember the definition of transferor company. Transferor company means whose assets and liabilities are transferred, means the acquired company. All the assets of acquired company, that is the transferor company, must be the assets of transferee company. So in case of this Vodafone and Idea, Vodafone might had certain assets, Idea have certain assets. What will be the assets of a telephone company? उसके पास कुछ टावर्स रहे होंगे, कुछ ऑफिसेस होंगे, कुछ कंप्यूटर होगा, कुछ कैश होगा, कुछ फिक्स डिपॉजिट होगा, कुछ बैंक डिपॉजिट होगा, ठीक है, कुछ मशीन्स होंगे, कुछ इक्विपमेंट्स होंगे, सम लैंड होल्डिंग माइट बी देयर, ठीक है, सम जिसपे वो टावर और ये सब फैक्ट्री लीज होल्ड इनका जो मतलब ऑफिसेस बने होंगे, these will be the assets of Idea and these will be the assets of Vodafone. Now all these assets, remember the term all, means without any exception, all the assets of transferor company must be the assets of transferee company. This is the condition number 1. And similar to this, the condition like here, all the assets of Vodafone, all the assets of Idea, they will become the assets of VI, all assets of A plus B. All the assets of Vodafone and all the assets of Idea, they will become the assets of VI. Now, who is VI? VI is the transferee company or the acquirer company. So, all the assets will be transferred to VI company. And second condition is all the liabilities of transferor company must be the liabilities of, this is creating a lot of problem. All the liabilities of transferor company must be the liabilities of the transferee company. Okay. So all the liabilities of transferor company. Here also just like assets, in case of liability also without any exception. But here, being a student of accounting, go back to your MBA first semester where you have been taught balance sheet, assets and liabilities. So on the liability side, there are two types of liabilities. One is the owner's liability, that is even the capital is also written on the liability side, and the outside liability is also written on the liability side. So here when we are talking about liability, it means outside liability. So all the liabilities of transferor company must be the liability of the transferee company. Outside liability means the liability which the company have to pay to someone, some external body, some external company or party or person. So that liability has to be transferred to the transferee company. Means in this case, Vodafone might have certain liabilities. What will be the liability of Vodafone? It may have some dues, it may have to pay rent to the owners of the property on whose land they have erected their towers or they have constructed their buildings. They have to pay dues to their employees, they have to pay taxes to the government. If they have taken some loan from the bank, then they have to, that liability will, that will be their liability. If they have raised some debentures or they have issued some bonds, so the debenture and bonds will be their liabilities. So all the liabilities of Vodafone, that is A, and all the liabilities of Idea, that is B, will be the combined liability of Vodafone and Idea. Means by getting merged with each other, they cannot escape their liabilities. The liability will be of VI. The VI will have to meet all the liability. And the third condition, at least 90% shareholders in the transferor company must be the shareholders in the transferee company. Means in case of Vodafone, there are 90% of the shares of Vodafone, they has to give their consent that they want to become a shareholder in VI. Idea, 90% shareholders of Idea, they must be the shareholder in VI. Okay, this means at the most there can be 10% dissenting shareholders. Okay, and if there are 10.1% dissenting shareholders, then this merger deal, it could not be finalized. So the company have to get the consent of its 90% of the shareholders 90% of shareholder means not the person, mean the person who are holding 90% of the share capital. Remember, if only one person is holding entire 90% shares, then only one person's consent is sufficient, because in corporate democracy it is the one person, not one person one vote, it is the one share one vote. So if a person is having 60% shares, it means that person's vote will be equivalent to 60% of the total votes. Okay, so here in corporate democracy, when I say the 90% of the shareholders, it does not mean that those all the shareholders, out of them 90%. It is those shareholders who are holding 90% shares. And remember, the shareholders who are holding 90% of the shares, it may be only one shareholder or two shareholder, or just a few shareholders who are holding 90% of the shares of Vodafone and Idea. So that will become, their consent is sufficient, and the minority shareholders, they do not have to they cannot say anything. Simply they can just ask for that we do not want to become a shareholder in VI and we want our money back. So only that has to be done. Okay, now the next is, if all these three conditions are fulfilled, then only this will be called merger. And actually our company law 2013, it has categorically used the term amalgamation, not merger. It has used the term amalgamation in the nature of merger. This is the terminology used by Companies Act 2013 and even Companies Act 1956. Both of them have used the term amalgamation in the nature of merger. When all these three conditions are fulfilled, then it will be amalgamation in the nature of merger. If these three conditions are not fulfilled, then it may be acquisition or it may be some other thing, but definitely this is not going to be a merger. Okay.
Sir,
Wait, later on. Keep your questions for the last part. First of all, let me complete. Okay. So 10% of the descent, there can be 10% of the descending shareholders, not more than 10% of the descending shareholders. And what will happen to these shareholders? If there are 10% shareholders, then what will happen? So either they have to accept, okay, that the deal, or if they do not accept, then they can accept cash. They will be paid cash equivalent to the amount of shares they have, the value of shares, they will be paid cash and they will be relieved. That is the maximum they can ask for, this 10% of the shareholders. But if it is 10.1, then the entire deal will be cancelled. But if it is less than 10 or up to 10, then they will be given cash. Then who will pay cash? So definitely the acquirer company or the transferee company, they will pay cash to the descending shareholders. Now in this case, VI will have some cash. Now what will be the cash of VI? The combined cash holding of Idea and Vodafone on the last day of merger, that will be the cash of VI. So from the combined cash of VI, they will be paying, if at all required, to the descending shareholders. That is out of the VI. And VI will be issuing shares to the shareholders of Vodafone, and the VI will be issuing shares to the shareholders of Idea. And what if any of these provisions are not met? Then definitely, as I told you, that it will not be merger. And if it is not merger, then what it will be? Definitely it is acquisition. It can be purchase of assets or it can be takeover. Any of these things. If it is not merger, then it is acquisition. It can be acquisition technically, or it can be simply purchase of an asset, or it can be takeover. Now acquisition we'll understand later on, but let us understand what is purchase of assets and what is takeover. There is a company called A Limited and there is a company called B Limited. A Limited have some assets. Suppose it has asset A, asset B, asset C and asset D. Now it may so happen that A Limited may sell one of its asset to B Limited, like asset A is sold to B Limited. Now here asset A is sold to B Limited and B Limited will pay to A Limited either in cash or by shares or any other mean, that is by debenture or bonds, any other things. And definitely here all the assets of A Limited are not transferred to B Limited, all the liabilities of A Limited is not transferred to B Limited. the shareholders of A Limited will not be the shareholder in B Limited. A Limited will maintain its identity, will continue to exist in the market, and B Limited will also continue to exist in the market. But what will happen? Only some of the assets of A Limited will be sold to B Limited. जैसे होता है ना कि एक कंपनी का कुछ प्रॉब्लम है तो उस कंपनी ने अपना एक एसेट बेच के कुछ कैश निकाल लिया. So this is something like that only, that A Limited have sold its one of assets to B Limited, and in return B Limited will be paying to A Limited either in cash or in through some other means. And here A Limited is definitely not buying the stocks in B Limited, or B Limited is not buying stocks or shares in A Limited. Means after this deal, A Limited and B Limited, both of them will be totally different identities. Only thing is that one of the assets of A Limited will now become the asset of B Limited, only thing, and after that there won't be any relationship between A Limited and B Limited. Both of them will be working independently. So this is also called purchase of an asset, and this is also one form of acquisition. Not acquisition of a company, but acquisition of an asset. And in this case, there won't be any dilution of control to the shareholders of A Limited, because ultimately A Limited have some shareholding, and when A Limited is selling one of the assets to B Limited, the shareholders of A Limited, the control that they have over A Limited will continue to have, because there is no change in the shareholding of A Limited. The shareholding of A Limited will be as it is, absolutely without any change. Fine. Example, here GMR Energy's one power plant is being sold to Jindal JSW Energy. So GMR Energy was having one power plant, and this power plant is sold to JSW Energy. So this is just like GMR Energy will be maintaining its identity, JSW will be maintaining its identity, and one of the asset of GMR will be sold to JSW, Jindal Steel. That's all. And for how much? 5,321 crore. This is the amount paid by JSW Energy. So definitely this amount 5,321 will be paid from JSW Energy. कहाँ से देंगे? Maybe they have some reserve, some cash. They might be acquiring some loan. They might be issuing some shares. वहाँ से लोग कैश उठा करके GMR Energy को पे करेंगे. But this is all. But ultimately after this deal, JSW Energy will be अपने रास्ते, GMR Energy अपने रास्ते, दोनों अपना अपना रहेंगे. Only this power plant will be shifted. It happened in case of Tata also. Tata Tea have sold some of its tea garden to some other tea company like Hindustan Lever. Hindustan Lever have sold some of its tea gardens to some other company like Amalgamated Plantations, and so on and so forth. So this is just purchase of or acquisition of an asset. Take another example. This is Power Finance Corporation, and there is a company called Rural Electrification Corporation. Both are independent company, both were having their own identity. Power Finance Corporation, this is a company which advance money for setting up power projects in India, and this is a Government of India company. REC, Rural Electrification Corporation, this is also Government of India company, and this advance money for the rural electrification. दोनों अपना अलग अलग काम करते हैं. अब क्या हुआ? Another example, ONGC and Hindustan Petroleum. हिंदुस्तान पेट्रोलियम का आप लोगों ने बहुत सारे पेट्रोल पंप देखे होंगे. अपने इधर इलाहाबाद में भी बहुत सारे हिंदुस्तान पेट्रोलियम के पेट्रोल पंप. हिंदुस्तान पेट्रोलियम और ONGC जो है, this is another company which is actually in the business of exploration of crude oil from earth or gas also, oil and natural gas corporation. Okay. Now what happened that PFC have acquired 51% stake in REC, and ONGC have acquired majority stakes in HP. Now इसमें हुआ क्या कि REC के जो शेयर्स हैं उसमें से उसने अपना 51% शेयर्स पावर फाइनेंस कॉर्पोरेशन को बेच दिया. नाउ अपना बेच सकती है कि नहीं? पावर फाइनेंस कॉर्पोरेशन इज एन आर्टिफिशियल पर्सन, अ लीगल एंटिटी. इट कैन परचेस शेयर्स इन एनी अदर कंपनी. ONGC is also an artificial person, a legal entity. It can also purchase shares in some other company. Artificial person means like you and me, we are natural persons, and ONGC is also one person. And like we can purchase shares in a company, ONGC can also purchase shares in any company, because in the eye of law, ONGC is also one person. PFC is also one person, REC is also one person, Hindustan Petroleum is also one person. So like we can purchase shares, ONGC or Power Finance Corporation, they can also purchase shares. So Power Finance Corporation have purchased 51% shares of REC. अब सपोज पावर फाइनेंस की जगह आप किसी को रख लो, सपोज इसके जगह आप चंद्रमणि झा को रख लो, एंड चंद्रमणि झा, सपोज पावर फाइनेंस से चंद्रमणि झा, उसने आरईसी की 51% शेयर्स खरीद ली, तो उससे आरईसी का क्या होगा? काम बंद हो जाएगा? नहीं, वैसे ही रहेगा. आरईसी विल रिमेन as it is. It will continue to work as it is working right now. Only thing is that 51% shares of this REC belongs to one person. But REC will be an independent company. It will be an independent legal entity. It will have its identity. But only thing is that its control, because 51% shares belongs to one person. It may be a Power Finance Corporation. It may be a Mukesh Ambani. It may be a Ranjit Singh. So that person will control the working of REC. And when REC will declare dividend, so dividend किसको दिया जाता है? अपने शेयर होल्डर्स को दिया जाता है. So when REC will declare dividend, so this dividend will go to whom? 51% of the dividend will go to Power Finance Corporation. When Hindustan Petroleum will declare dividend, so suppose ONGC have acquired 60% stake in Hindustan Petroleum. So 60% of the dividend of Hindustan Petroleum will go to ONGC. जब हिंदुस्तान पेट्रोलियम की जब मीटिंग होगी, जनरल मीटिंग ऑफ शेयर होल्डर्स, उसमें ONGC का वोट कितना होगा? इक्विवेलेंट टू 60%. अकेला 60% ONGC के पास उसका शेयर है. REC का 51% शेयर्स किसके पास है? पावर फाइनेंस कॉर्पोरेशन के पास है. सो पावर फाइनेंस कॉर्पोरेशन का जो वोट होगा वही REC का फेट डिसाइड करेगा. बट हियर दिस इज एन एग्जांपल ऑफ टेक ओवर. PFC have acquired 51% shares in REC, but still PFC and REC, both of them are maintaining their own identity. This is not an example of merger. ONGC have acquired stakes in Hindustan Petroleum. This is not merger. This is just they have taken over some control in Hindustan Petroleum. But Hindustan Petroleum and ONGC, both of them are maintaining their identity. REC and PFC are maintaining their identity. Okay. Now, suppose there is a company called A Limited and there is a company called B Limited, and this process, let us understand. A is a cash rich company. A के पास बहुत पैसा है, ठीक है, और A क्या करेगी? अपने कैश से B Limited के कुछ शेयर्स खरीद लिया उसने. कितना खरीदा? मे बी 50%, 51% शेयर्स, ठीक है. सो शेयर्स ऑफ B Limited बॉट बाय A Limited. ए के पास कैश था, उस कैश को उसने यूज किया क्या करने के लिए? कैश पे कर दिया बी लिमिटेड के शेयर्स को खरीदने के लिए, और उसका शेयर्स उसने एक्वायर कर लिया. एंड कितना शेयर? 51% शेयर्स. सो नाउ ए लिमिटेड विल बिकम द होल्डिंग कंपनी एंड बी लिमिटेड विल बिकम अ सब्सिडियरी कंपनी. सो हियर द कंसेप्ट ऑफ होल्डिंग कंपनी एंड सब्सिडियरी कंपनी. Here A Limited will be holding company, B Limited will be subsidiary company. Now go back to the previous example. Who is holding company here? Power Finance is holding company, REC is subsidiary company. In this deal, ONGC will be holding company and Hindustan Petroleum will become subsidiary company. Now who is holding this? We have this seen that Power Finance is holding company and REC is subsidiary company, and so is for ONGC and Hindustan Petroleum. And what if 51% shares are not acquired? It may also happen that 51% shares are not acquired, say only 30% shares are acquired. Then definitely this will not be a holding company and it will be called associate company. Like if a company have acquired not more than 50% shares, only say 30% shares, 20% shares. Like Facebook recently have acquired less than 10% shares in Reliance Jio. So now Facebook is definitely not holding company of Reliance Jio, but Facebook will be just an associate company of Reliance Jio. Now let us understand the process of demerger. If merger we have understood, then the process of demerger. Now what is demerger? There is a company called A Limited, and A Limited is now bifurcate it into two companies or three companies, X, Y, and Z. Now earlier there was only one company, A Limited, and now after this demerger, there are more than one company or three company, four company. So this process is called demerger. Example of demerger, there was a company called G Telefilms prior to 2007. G Telefilm is still there, but now G Telefilms have demerged. Out of it, there are three more companies. That is, G News was demerged, then Dish TV was demerged, and WL Limited was also demerged from G Telefilms. And now there are total four companies. G Telefilms is there, G News, a separate listed company, Dish TV is also listed, and WL is also listed. So there are four companies now listed in the stock exchange. So prior to 2007, there were only one company, G Telefilms, and now there are four companies. So this is a process of demerger. And since demerger is reverse of merger, so all the conditions of merger will be just reverse apply. Like 100% assets of A Limited should become the assets of B Limited. This was now 100% assets of G Limited. So this G News, it will not have any assets which is not acquired from the G Telefilms. Means 100% of its assets, G News assets, will be earlier the property of G Telefilms. Similarly, 100% of the assets of Dish TV was earlier asset of G Telefilms. And similarly, for the liabilities, 100% of the liabilities or the proportionate liability of G News was earlier liability of G Telefilms, and so is for Dish TV and WLL. Now, this condition is, but this is, and this entire process is acquisition or takeover. This is not merger. So now we have understood that merger is one concept, takeover is another concept. In case of merger, the transferor company, they lose their identity. In case of purchase of an asset, both the company, they maintain their identity. Only some of the assets are sold to the transferee company. And in case of takeover, both the companies, they maintain their identity, and only thing is that their stocks, their shares are purchased by some other company, but they continue to work the way they were working. Only the controlling part is given to some other company. Okay, but the question is, can B Limited fully merge with A Limited? Now A Limited and B Limited are the two different companies. Now A Limited is having 51% control over of B Limited. Now suppose A Limited have decided that let us merge together. A Limited wants to merge itself with the B Limited. Meaning thereby, now A Limited wants that there should be only one company called A Limited. There should not be any other company with the name B Limited. Can it happen? And if this happen, then all the assets of B Limited will be the assets of A Limited technically. Now see, now till now only majority of the shares of B Limited are actually acquired by A Limited, and now all the assets of B Limited will officially transfer to A Limited and will become assets of A Limited. All the liabilities of B Limited will become liabilities of A Limited. 90% shareholders of B Limited will be shareholders in A Limited. Now, shareholders of B Limited here, who is a majority shareholder in B Limited? Share in B Limited, 51% shares are still held by A Limited. Now A Limited will have to surrender its shares to B Limited, and A Limited will issue equivalent amount of shares of A Limited to itself. ठीक है? Means its total share capital will go up. It will be improved. And identity of B Limited.
सर नहीं करते
सर ये समझ में नहीं आया.
यस सर.
Okay. B Limited. Who is a majority shareholder in B Limited?
लिमिटेड.
A Limited.
लिमिटेड.
A Limited. Now जब B Limited अपना B Limited इसमें A में मर्ज हो रहा है, ठीक है। सो शेयर होल्डर्स ऑफ बी लिमिटेड, उनको क्या दिया जाएगा? शेयर से ए लिमिटेड दिया जाएगा।
यस सर।
51% शेयर्स ऑफ बी लिमिटेड किसके पास है?
ए लिमिटेड
के पास।
ए लिमिटेड के पास है। अब ए लिमिटेड क्या अपने आप को शेयर इशू कर सकता है?
नो सर।
हाँ,
हाँ कर सकता है, मतलब बी लिमिटेड का जो 51% शेयर है उसको इक्विवेलेंट कर देगा ए लिमिटेड में कितना शेयर
किसको
हुआ।
किसके नाम पे इशू करेगा? किसको इशू करेगा? अपना खुद का शेयर किसको देगा?
बी को देगा।
बी तो है नहीं,
प्राइस
तो
ट्रांसफर
disappear हो
नहीं
गया।
किया शेयर।
हाँ, बी तो है नहीं, तो बी के जो माइनॉरिटी शेयर होल्डर्स होंगे अदर देन 51%, 49, डेफिनेटली दे विल बी इशूड शेयर्स इन ए लिमिटेड। ठीक है।
यस सर, यस सर।
51% शेयर्स ऑफ बी लिमिटेड किसके पास है?
ए लिमिटेड के पास में, वही शेयर पूछ रहा था।
हाँ, वो जो है उसको एक्सटिंग्विश करना पड़ेगा, वो खत्म हो जाएगा वो। ठीक है। एंड एंटायर all the assets and liabilities will become the combined assets and liability of A limited.
But when it will be extinguished, then the assets of A that containing the portion of B,
एसेट्स नहीं, एसेट्स तो सारा हो जाएगा, बी का सारा एसेट्स आ जाएगा इधर। हाँ बोलो फिर।
just actually I have a doubt, I have a confusion on that part only. 51% share of B that is holding by
that
A
will be extinguished. That will be extinguished.
extinguish होके जाएगी कहाँ पे?
Write off. It will be a process of like capital reduction, एक तरह से हो जाएगा उसका। ठीक है।
उसमें लॉस नहीं होगा?
नहीं, लॉस नहीं होगा। We'll come to that. I will explain you later. ठीक है। I will explain this. So identity of B limited will disappear. So this happens. Okay. Now, if suppose this happened, Power Finance, suppose the Power Finance one day they decide that there should not be any identity of PFC, so there will only be Power Finance in the stock market, and REC will not be there, and shareholders of REC will be given shares in Power Finance Corporation. How many shares? How many shares of REC will be given shares in Power Finance Corporation? So for that we need to identify share exchange ratio. Depending upon the value of the shares of REC and the value of shares of Power Finance, share exchange ratio will be decided, and like for how many shares of REC, how many shares of PFC will be issued, that will be decided at that time, and that is called exchange ratio. This is also another one term that you will be using most frequently. Now question is, here one holding company is acquiring its subsidiary company, but can reverse is possible? Is the reverse possible? Subsidiary company can acquire its holding company. Can a subsidiary company acquire its holding company? For example, here this is a holding company and a subsidiary company. This example is clear to you. Now can A limited fully merge with B limited? This is a question. Now B limited is subsidiary company and A limited wants to merge with B limited, and if this happen, again all the assets of A limited will be the assets of B limited. Reverse, all the liabilities of A limited will be the liability of B limited, and the shareholders of A limited will be given shares in B limited. 10% can be dissenting shareholders, and identity of A limited will disappear from the market. If this happen, this okay. Now just take an example. There was a company called ICICI, not ICICI Bank, only ICICI, Industrial Credit and Investment Corporation of India, and it had one subsidiary company, ICICI Bank. And one fine day, ICICI Bank, which was a subsidiary company, they have decided that let us acquire its holding company, and they have ICICI Bank, mean a subsidiary company, have acquired its holding company, and then ultimately there is only one company, ICICI Bank. So this has happened. Similar is the case of IDBI Bank. There was one company called Industrial Development Bank of India, IDBI, and it had one subsidiary company, IDBI Bank. Now IDBI Bank have acquired its parent company, holding company, and there is only one company now that is called IDBI Bank. So this kind of processes are happening in market, and this is called reverse merger. Okay, reverse merger. A subsidiary company is acquiring its parent company. Next question is, can government ask for the merger? Definitely yes. When? In public interest. And what is that possible? And is it possible that company is a fully private company? हम लोग बोलेंगे कि वो मेरा अपना बिजनेस है, मेरा बिजनेस है, गवर्नमेंट को इससे क्या लेना देना है? एंड क्या गवर्नमेंट तब भी कर सकती है? यस, गवर्नमेंट तब भी कर सकती है. रिमेंबर माय फ्रेंड, गवर्नमेंट कैन डू एनीथिंग anywhere of the government, whether it is a US government or Indian government or Chinese government or Russian government. गवर्नमेंट को अगर मन करे कुछ भी कर सकती है. ठीक है, तो इस भुलावे मत रहना कि गवर्नमेंट ऐसा नहीं कर सकती. गवर्नमेंट कर सकती है, कुछ भी कर सकती है, कोई भी गवर्नमेंट. ठीक है. एनी एग्जांपल? Mahindra and Satyam. Satyam was a fully private company and it was doing some business which was not prudent and it was unethical practices, and ultimately government interfered, and Satyam, though it was a fully private company, and it was asked to get itself merged with Tech Mahindra, and now it is Mahindra Satyam. This is the new company, Mahindra Satyam. ठीक है. And why do company go for merger and acquisition? The answer is simple, very synergy. That is 2 plus 2 is not equal to 4, but it is more than 4. That is synergy. And there can be revenue synergy, there can be cost synergy, there can be financial synergy, and there can be growth, diversification, and all these things are there. And when we are talking about synergy, so now just think about demerger. Demerger, why do companies go for demerger? Because 2 plus 2 is more than 4, that is called synergy. For in case of demerger, if the companies, if the businesses are totally unrelated, negatively related, then 2 plus 2 is not equal to 4, but it may sometimes be 3 also. And that's why if the businesses are totally unrelated, then it's better to go for demerger, spin-off, and in that case 2 plus 2 is equal to, it was earlier 3, now at least it will be 2 plus 2 equal to 4. So that's why when synergy is a terminology used for merger and acquisitions, negative synergy is a terminology used for demergers. So this is just in brief about some of the technical aspects of merger and